Welcome to WebsiteUpgradeTester.com, the new cloud-based tool that helps you test any upgrade, service pack, or security patch to your website. This is a more detailed follow-up video from the video titled Testing as a Specific User and Managing Logins. If you haven't watched that video yet, you might want to watch it now. As a quick reminder, the Website Upgrade Tester tool supports these 5 types of login processing. Number 1, a single-page login form. Number 2 is a 2-page login form. For option 3, we support submitting parameters through an HTTP post or GET. The 4th option is to specify a list of actions with values that drive the browser to log in. And lastly, you can record or type in a Puppeteer script that will get evaluated in the browser to log in. In the previous video, we demonstrated logging into a single-page form, and because the 2-page form is very similar, we'll skip over that one in this video. I'll be demonstrating options 3, 4, and 5 in this video, so let's get started. In each of the 3 examples that I will show you, I used the same custom login form. Let's open that login page now and take a quick look at it. It's a simple 1-page login form with username and password inputs and a selection list that allows the user to choose what page they should be taken to on login. Clicking the Submit button posts to itself and then redirects to the selected page. Since there is this extra field, I can't use the 1-page login type because it does not support passing this extra field. Fortunately, the other 3 login types that I'm going to show you now do. Number 3. Log in via submitting parameters to the login submission URL. This login option passes the login parameters via an HTTP GET or POST to the login form target page. The first thing I need to do is figure out what those form parameters are and what page the login form submits to. I'll do that by opening the DevTools console in Chrome by pressing F12. Then fill in the form and click the Submit button. Okay, here you can see the form fields that were submitted. There's one for the username, one for password, one for the view selection list, and the name of the Submit button. Back on the Logins listing page, let's edit the Submit Params record, which will mimic what we just did. Again, the name I gave this is a bit odd. Yours will probably be named after the user that you are logging in under, or a role. I selected the action type Submit Parameters to Login Submission URL. Next, I'll specify the URL that my login form submits to. Note that this may not be the same URL as your login form. In our example, the form submits to itself, so it is. Lastly, I'll specify the session timeout for this login, which is how long between page requests that the session will persist for. The tool will use this value to know when it needs to log in again, if there has been a delay in running pages. We'll click Next to specify the parameters. Here you will see 2 tabs. The first tab collects the information about the username and password fields, and the second tab about any other fields on your login form. Let's start at the top. The first field is the name of the form or URL parameter that the username is passed under. Next is its value, and then the name of the form or URL parameter for the password and its value. Next is how to submit, either an HTTP GET or POST. In most cases, it's a POST. Clicking on the Other Parameters tab, I can see a table that has 1 parameter specified in it. It's the name of the selection list field in our example and its value. If I need more parameters, I can add as many as I need by clicking the Add New button. Here I simply specify the parameter name and value. Okay, that's all the fields specific for this login type. To test it, I'll click the button where I'm then prompted to choose either the pre or post upgrade URL, specify the server relative URL of the page that will be used to test the login, and to pick a screen size for use for the test snapshot. Okay, there we go. It will take just a few seconds. It looks like our user Joe was logged in. I'm not seeing any access denied message on the test page. One note about this type, it is the only type that does not drive the browser to log in, and as such is faster to perform and uses less CPU time. If your login is simple, you should use this type. All other login types need to set up and drive a browser to test the login, which is a bit slower and uses more of your CPU runtime hours. Let's take a look at the fourth login type, Specify Actions. Here, the first page of the dialog wizard is similar but slightly different. You will of course give it a unique and appropriate name and will choose the action type of Specify Actions. Note that in this case the URL you provide is actually the URL of the login form, not the form's action URL, as was specified in the previous Submit Parameters type. Clicking the Next button will reveal how you can control logins under this type. You will see a table of actions. In this case, we have specified 4 actions that will be performed. Number 1, fill in the username field specified by this selector with its value. In this case, it's our user's email address. Number 2, fill in the password field specified by this selector with this value. Notice that we don't show the password. We will always store and pass your passwords in encrypted form. Number 3, set the selection list field specified by this selector with this value, events. And lastly, click the Submit button or link specified by this selector. Does that make sense? You are basically scripting the browser without any formal scripting language by specifying what actions to take and in what order. If we click the Add New button, you'll see the options you have for an action. If I cycle through the types, you will see that some of the fields are the same while others change. They each will have a CSS selector that identifies the element in the login form that the action applied to, and a delay in milliseconds to wait before performing the action. One note about the click action. If the click causes the page to reload or to navigate to another page, you need to specify yes in the Navigates field. Let's cancel out of here. Besides pointing out that you can edit, delete, and move your actions up and down, I think that's all we need to cover for the Script Actions login type. As you can see, it's pretty flexible, so long as you can drive the browser with these actions. Let's look at the fifth and final login type, Specify Script. This is the most powerful and most flexible, but it requires that you know or learn a little bit of the Puppeteer scripting language. What this option provides, that the previous option does not, is that it is a real scripting language. You can have conditional logic, loops, and other programming constructs if your login process is more complicated than what the other login types can support. What I'm going to show you now is a simple example, basically to give you a feel for what the script may look like. Okay, let's go see the dialogues for this login type. Again, the first page is the same, except for the name and action. Pressing Next, I see a form with 3 fields, username, password, and Puppeteer script. Because we don't want your username and password stored within your script in plain text, we prompt for them here, and will then pass them to your script when it's ready to execute. As mentioned earlier, we store these encrypted for better security. Here's the Puppeteer script that does the same thing as our previous Specify Actions example. It simply types text into the username field. Notice here that we are using the username variable. Types text into the password field. Notice here that we are using the user pass variable. Sets the selection list option to events, and clicks the Login Submit button. Pretty simple, but then again, our login form is pretty straightforward as well. If your login form is more complex, or you are new to Puppeteer, there is a Chrome plugin that you can download that will allow to record your login actions. Once you do this, you will have to edit the script before you save it into this form. I'll show you that real quick. Here you can see the plugin in my Chrome toolbar. I simply click the camcorder icon, then choose Record. Next, just fill in your fields. But one thing to note is that you need to tab out of any input fields in order for the extension to record the typing. Okay, I've filled in the form. Now let's stop the recording. There you go. There is a bunch of stuff that it records that you don't need, Mainly, you don't need the code that sets up the Puppeteer context or closes the browser, like these 3 lines at the top and this line. The Website Upgrade Tester tool will take care of this. All your script needs is the actual actions. This plugin also has options that you can play with under the gear icon. Okay, that's it for the Specify Script login type. So there you have it. Hopefully we have shown you in a little more detail how these 3 more advanced login types can be used to test your site logged in as a specific user. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out our other videos on websiteupgradetester.com. Oh, and if you thought this video was helpful, please like it or share it with others. And if you have comments, please enter them on our YouTube channel. We will try to reply there promptly.